Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 268 of bulking to 75 kilos, and today is a back day. Now, I'm going back to the basics, I'm going to train the front lever hold, and I was just thinking, maybe I can mention like how you can train for the front lever, because many of you guys are probably, training to achieve the front lever or do a longer hold, and if you're not, you're missing out, If you can do the front lever, you can do anything. Your deadlift will become stronger if you care about that, but also you'll just be able to do more pull-ups, you'll be able to achieve the one-arm pull-up more easily. So the front lever is really just this basic exercise that will get you strong at everything. And I would say if you are training to have a strong front lever hold, do about 30% of your training as static training, just holding it like the front lever, and all of the other training, the 70%, should include some kind of dynamic exercise, So for example, when you're training for the front lever and you've unlocked the one leg front lever, you can do some tuck pull-ups as well. You can do some tuck presses as well, because those are dynamic exercises, you're moving your arms, your lats are under tension, under different angles, and it really helps you just become strong. And that's just the rule of thumb, It's something that, kind of out of the blue, or not out of the blue, but naturally, I was doing since the start. I was doing like 5 sets of pull-ups and then a couple sets of holds, and I was getting really good gains with it. But afterwards, I was also looking things up on like how to have more efficient static training. And like the science says, I guess, that, about 30% statics and then 70% of dynamic stuff is going to give you the most gains. So yeah, today I'm going to focus on the hold as well. It's going to be a bit more than, I think, 30% of static work, but it's not just based on one workout, These 30-70% rules, you can apply them to your entire training week. So for example, last time I trained front lever, there were a lot of pull-ups and not a lot of statics. So today I can do a bit more statics and get some good gains. Now, the holds, lately I've been skipping it a lot. I don't think I'm very strong today. I'm going to do a few sets here. I'm going to do 3 sets of trying to get to, I think, 45 seconds of total hold. Now, I'm not going to be able to hold the front lever for 45 seconds. I'm going to be able to hold it for maybe 30 seconds, and then I can drop in the progression, I can go to one leg, I can go to tuck, and I can basically do a drop sit to reach, a longer hold. And that's something that you can apply as well. Not 45 seconds, of course, but if you're trying to unlock the front lever, perhaps, get to 10 seconds. First you do a front lever attempt, you can maybe hold it for 1 second or not even that, but then you can drop back down, move to one leg, move to tuck until you get to 10 seconds and basically keep attempting like that. So I'm going to do 3 sets of this and then see from there. All right. Whew. Only able to hold the front lever for 30 seconds, which I'm coming from like 42 to 45 seconds. So the basics are a bit weak at the moment. My pull-ups feel strong, but I'm pretty sure if I can get my base back up to standards, like 40 seconds at least, the pull-ups will be even stronger, I think everything stems from the front lever hold, because when you do the front lever hold, everything is just under constant tension. Your entire back, nothing gets left out. So yeah, let's do a couple more sets here. I'm gonna do 3 sets. Seems like an appropriate volume, although 45 seconds might be a bit much. Yeah, let's see what happens. All right, 45 seconds is gonna be way too hard, so instead I'm gonna do sets of 30 seconds. I was planning on doing 3 sets total originally, but perhaps because the sets are shorter, I can do one more, you know. Sometimes, especially when you come back to a certain workout for the first time, or you do a workout for the first time, you know, it's a bit difficult to gauge exactly what you're going to be able to do. But, you know, you just take a guess, you start working out, and then you improvise, adapt, overcome. But, you know, there's no use theorizing about how many sets and reps you should do if you don't even know how strong you are. So just, you know, start working out, you know, start doing stuff, and then you'll find out. Whew. Holy shit. Okay. That's 4 sets of holds done in total in drop set format. The pump is immaculate, like holy fucking shit. It's insane how like the pump you get from just holding the front lever for especially the longer sets. If you perhaps are training for the front lever, if you use some assistance, and you'll be able to do longer sets, but it's constant tension, so it's just an insane pump. Now, I'm gonna do some more front lever sets here, of course, and I'm gonna put some weight on my feet and do some presses, you know, some dynamic portion of the workout. It's not gonna add up to, you know, 30% of static and 70% of dynamic, but, you know, some workouts you go, you know, you do more dynamic stuff, some workouts you do more static stuff, and in total, you know, over time, it's gonna become that 30-70% ratio, which, you know, if you're not exactly on it, that's okay, but it's just something, you know, I guess something you can measure, you know, something like a guideline you can use. Now, the reason I'm using weights is a bit less scientifically based than the 30-70 method, but basically for me, you know, I felt heavy in the front lever hold today, and just like Goku, you know, when something feels heavy, you add some weight, you make it even more difficult, and then when you take the weights off, that's when it feels light. So that's kind of the principle I'm using here. Maybe it doesn't make sense after the holds, but I'm just gonna do a couple reps of presses here and there, and I guess like 3 sets, and then hopefully it will make the front lever feel lighter when I train it next time, you know. But yeah, that's gonna be a good finisher of the front lever portion of this workout. After that, we still have some pull-ups though. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's fucking illegal to be as pumped as I am right now, but as long as the police doesn't come knocking on my door, I'll be doing a set of pull-ups to end the workout. Now, you know, the last few trainings I've been doing one-arm pull-ups as well, but I gotta be honest, I feel like they're a bit too heavy as an accessory exercise. So I'm just happy that I'm able to do the one-arm pull-up still. Of course, I'm never gonna be able to not do it because I train the front lever, but, you know, as an accessory exercise, it's a bit useless, it's a bit too heavy. So what I'm gonna do instead is move straight away to the normal pull-ups. This bar has a limit of 100 kilos. I myself am 75, so I'll be putting 25 more between my legs as extra ball sack weight and smash out some pull-ups, you know. Last time I think I got 15 pull-ups. Now, from the front lever holds, you get more tired in the lats than from the pull-ups because the tension is constantly on your lats, you know. When you're doing pull-ups, you're kind of still like getting the tension in different places. It comes in your like your mid back and your rear delts as well. And, you know, don't get me wrong, when you're in the front lever, you have tension over in those areas as well. You know, the rear delt the mid back, but most important of all, there is constant pressure, just excruciating the shit out of your lats. So yeah, very tired right now, and I'll be happy if I can just smash my little PR. I don't know if it's a PR, because I'm just doing these pull-ups as an accessory. But if I can get 16 reps or more, that would be nice. So that's gonna be the finisher for today. Whew. 17. What the fuck? Alright, so I think that's gonna be it for today's workout. And I'm satisfied, those were some heavy, difficult sets. And I'm gonna need a couple days of recovery to get back on track by the next training. So, whew. Today's workout was a lot of statics, and like I mentioned in the beginning, 30% static holds, 70% dynamic stuff, pull-ups, presses, whatever the fuck, raises, right? That's gonna be a good mix today. It was a bit more static, but as long as your overall ratio is just about that 70-30, I think you're on your way for some, to do some good efficient training now. Of course, if you prefer to do more statics, if you prefer to do more dynamic stuff instead, go for it, by all means, give it a try, because in general, these are just like, these guidelines, it's just some general stuff to help, the average person on his way, it's gonna work for, I think 100% of the people, if the workout is correctly executed, but of course, depending on the person, there might still be a way that you prefer more. So, by all means, experiment with your training, Don't just do 70-30 because I said so. Go out there and try it. And if you don't like it, well, then fuck my advice, Doesn't matter if it doesn't work. So, it's definitely not the law that you should do 70-30, or everything dynamic or everything static. Who gives a fuck, As long as you are enjoying your training, feel satisfaction from your training, excuse me, and are progressing, I've got no complaints. But, if you're looking for a way to start, perhaps the 30% static, 70% dynamic way is a good starting point, and you can adjust from there. So that's it for today's workout. Very happy with how it went. And yeah, I'm gonna have some dinner. I'll see you tomorrow for a leg day, which will be a bit special because I'm still feeling it in my quadriceps from last time. But we'll see what happens.